Welcome back, Netrunners, to another edition of Stampede City Grid. I'm your host, Justin.
And I'm Keith.
And we have here is the third round of Swiss, second game, with myself on the left, playing Gabriel Santiago, which of course gets you 2 credits the first time you make a successful run in HQ. And on the right we have David playing HB.
He's playing Hasbard, Engineering the Future, or Ending the Fun. Gets 1 credit the first time they install a card, which they do tend to do quite a bit.
Yeah, just the classic ID. You just really, it's always been the ID to beat with HB, keen to Shaper with Kate up until maybe more recently.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the thing is, because it's so ubiquitous, you never know what's going to come out of it.
It could be anything. There could be ice, most likely.
maybe
Agendas.
Maybe a few upgrades.
Yes.
Maybe. I mean, typically, obviously, you see more Glacier builds with ETF, but even then, there's a lot of variation.
People who do Marcus Batty who import that in and try to run brain damage or trash programs.
Yeah, this tournament. This tournament was February 6th of this year, so it's post Most Wanted list.
Right, and it was for the winter kit for Fantasy Flight. Yeah,
and it's at the Sentry Box in Calgary, Alberta. So about to get underway here, and I think after post Most Wanted list. I don't think it really killed food coats as much as just mutated it a bit. And so what's interesting, though, is that just with how good the ice is in HBs, that I think a lot of people, they instead of getting rid of their Architects and Elis, they just kept those in and just took out some of the defensive upgrades, like, went down to 1 Caprice and 3 Ashes, or, just kind of make tweaks elsewhere to keep in that super strong suite of ice they usually have.
Yeah, and the addition of the neutral agenda, the Global Food Initiative, has just legitimately changed HB. Even though it was in an NBN box, just pretty much everyone just thought immediately, it's like, oh, that's exactly what I need for my Glacier build.
Yeah, and I think just Glacier builds in general have really been helped here.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, for sure. All right, looks like we're underway.
We have a mulligan? No, I think they go ahead.
Yeah, we're good to go. And so, interestingly, even though I'm playing Gabe, which is Mr. HQ runs, David on the right has decided not to ice up HQ first turn.
Well, that's going to cost him.
Yep, and so I think my idea here was I ran an R&D first, which can be dangerous. I really, you never want to face plant to an Architect, although I find if I'm going to face plant to an Architect, I want to do it as early as possible, so they have the least amount of targets available for those subs. But yeah, and then I Dirty Laundry HQ and pick up some creds there and see a Turing.
Oh, that's probably the Turing.
Probably, one would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And, against Criminal, I'm assuming, in my mind, that's not an agenda. Until he does this. In my mind, usually, against Criminal, inside job's always a threat. And so if you place 1 dice down, it's usually not going to be an agenda usually. But when he placed the second ice thinking there, I had in my head that maybe he's trying to rush out an early one, which is great for HB, because obviously Criminal, playing Gabe, you're going to be aggressive, going to try to push out steal agendas, as fast as possible. Try to get that siphon.
With the R&D.
Yep, so I drop an R&D interface, and again, try to think, if that is an agenda, then I might be able to force him to res ice, running with R&D, but I come up totally blank.
Well, at least HQ is still wide open for the taking.
It's really mind-blowing, and I'm really feeling frustrated that I did not mulligan into a siphon, and because it's just ripe for the taking and would really help.
The front door is open.
Yeah, yeah. I played HB actually the previous round, and it just got 2 early siphons off, and they never were able to recover.
Oh, Account Siphon still is one of the strongest meta-changing cards from that core set.
Well,
meta-creating cards.
Exactly. I think a big thing with HBs, because their ice tends to not be the cheapest,
right? Unless
they're playing something like the Next Suite or whatnot. Okay, so I decide to inside job that remote anyway. I think maybe just to force a res here.
All right, then we have the Turing on the outside.
Yep, so Turing on the outside, and then what is it on the inside? Just Coming up. And a
Okay,
toll
toll
booth.
booth.
Wowzers.
Oh, wow.
So just slam right into that toll booth, lose 3 creds, but I did make him sink a bunch of credits into that res. So he must really want what's ever in that remote.
Yeah. 3 credits left, and he's going to use those to advance 3 times.
Yep, and ABT,
you're
and
gonna run it?
he believes in the heart of the cards. He's
All
going
right.
for it. Doesn't.
The test is running through, and it.
Oh! You see how excited I am right there.
Man.
Oh, I'm sweating bullets because that's on the other hand. If and then that's exactly what HP, these glacier builds, they want to get an ABT off early. They want to be able to just fling out 6+ credits worth of ice.
No agendas there.
No agendas. I think that was an Adonis, a restructured, and what was that middle card? Did you say?
I didn't see. It looked like an upgrade.
Yeah, some.
Break grid, I think.
It's possible, and that's another. That's the other card I would say, along with Global Food, that has really just taken HP Glacier to the next level.
Yeah.
Is being able to res all your campaigns and your defensive upgrades for free. Just makes it so much better, and you get so much more money from the campaigns, and it lets you res all that ice, for example, on remote, and still have the ability to get your defensive upgrades.
Oh, we have an agenda. The efficiency committee was sniped out of R&D.
Yeah, which you don't see a lot.
Emergency shutdown.
Which you also don't see a lot nowadays. So that was pretty solid turn for me.
Yes.
So we're tied 2-2 here.
Finally icing up HQ.
Yeah, and so I'm feeling pretty good. And I should note that I did play Drug Dealer earlier. So I am getting a slow uptick of cards coming in. And speaking of cards,
Laramie Fisk.
First click, just getting some investment advice.
Yep.
Sharing my knowledge with HB there. And Fisk has been great for criminal. It's been great for mill decks especially, but I find that, when the corp has a full mitt of cards, why did I draw a card? Oh, I think what happened was I forgot my drug dealer draw, and so I asked him if it was okay to draw, and he kindly acquiesced.
Yeah.
So I ran HQ there, no res, and given he's only got 1 credit. And that's why I fist, is even though usually you fisk when you're forcing the corp to overdraw. Mm-hmm. However, being Gabe, my idea is that I would fisk and then draw him back up, and then run HQ, and then hopefully snag an agenda if I get lucky, and at least get the 2 credits.
HQ is safe before the investment seminar. You don't know what's coming up in the future.
Exactly. All right, so I play same old thing, take my drug dealer draw, and let's see what David does here.
Install in that secured remote.
Yep, so he just installs, take 2 credits. Classic ETF turn.
He does not have enough money to res that toll booth again, so...
No, and I could spend an entire turn clicking through the turn to see what it is.
Yeah, I often like to do that because a lot of corporations forget the ability that you could just click right through that thing and just go in and find out what's behind there.
Yeah, definitely, you can get a bit of tunnel vision with turn because it's typically such a strong piece of ice that you do have to spend an entire turn to break through it. So it's not generally a recommended move for the runner, but if you strongly suspect it's an agenda or something else you really want to get in a remote, it can be totally worth it.
Definitely one of the strongest ones of the legacy ice that came out in that cycle.
Yeah. Oh, sure. I mean, all those ice have been great for each of their respective factions.
Oh, absolutely.
But Turing, I would definitely say is the most played and probably is the strongest in general. Okay, so that is. Did I?
Desperado?
No. Oh, Doppelganger.
Doppelganger.
I decided to play Doppelganger in this deck because I was influence starved.
Yeah.
It was just sort of it was a hard choice I made. I find though that between security testing and dirty laundries and whatnot, I can. Oh, and then I'm trying to drop the siphon. See if I can get away with it. He's on 4 credits, and he reses.
Is that next? Is that Bastion? That looks like Bastion.
Yep, that is a Bastion. So and that's 4 creds he spent to res that, so that makes sense. Apologies for the glare there. So now I forced him to res and he's broke again. So I run R&D for free because he still can't res that ice. But I come up blank and pass the turn.
Discard the Plascrete. We have another server being created there.
part of me actually, looking back at this, part of me wonders if I should have tried to run R&D first, and then
maybe got him to res the ice on R&D and then run HQ and had full access and gain credits.
Yeah, that might have been a better line of play. But getting the free R&D access is never bad.
Yeah.
I'm kind of just getting some rotten luck at the moment. I did get the efficiency committee, but I think I've got at least 6 cards of access in R&D.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing a whole lot. But the one advantage I have at this point is that he's low on money, relatively low on money. However, I'm really low on money. I am flat broke. Gabe needs a handout.
And those drug dealers are always coming to his door asking for money.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a cyborg, so he can lose an arm or two and just replace it.
Charitable donations to your drug dealer.
I don't know what exactly cyborg gets addicted to, but
I imagine it's probably just some sort of motor oil.
Yeah, just gotta get your fix, your squeaky fix. So let's see here. Okay, David's just deciding what to discard. And so I made an R&D, or no, what was going on? So I made an R&D run. Looks like it came up blank.
Is it a doppelganger run to archives? It looks.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That's totally right. Yep.
Doppelganger is one of the IDs that I constantly forget to trigger the effects of. It's
it's conditional, so you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So technically, your opponent's under no obligation to remind you of the fact. Mm-hmm. And I do find that it's not as good as Desperado because no criminal counsel is as good as Desperado, but it is, I think, a very undervalued counsel, and there's a lot of criminals want to run a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
So it's definitely something I think more criminals could take advantage of, and it's a good alternative if you are influence-starved and criminal, which tends to be the case.
Yes. Here and there, they often have ways of coming back from very low money. The easy marks and the bank jobs tend to fill them back up from their broke status relatively quickly.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Now, I am, despite all these cards I've drawn with drug dealer, I have yet to find a breaker. It should be just living the broke life, just wander around in cyberspace.
Do you run special order? Just curious.
I definitely do. I think I had 2 in this particular build, and part of it is just not having a lot of money, because even if I find a breaker, I have to be able to pay for it. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm kind of a little flustered at this point that I haven't drawn into a breaker. Because I'm thinking I have 2 same old things, so I could recur the siphons and get in there relatively easily if I could just get something to get through that bastion. Okay.
Discarding of the special order.
Here we go. So I decided to drop special order. And what am I going to get?
Breach.
Wait. I'm thinking about getting Breach.
Yeah.
Thinking about it, shuffling it. Now, if I remember right, though, let's see what happens here. Because that's definitely my train of thought, is want to get into HQ, get those Gabe credits, recur the siphons. I obviously, against HB, you generally don't worry about going tag me. But
look at that.
I take it back and decide instead get Faust.
For Faust.
Ooh, what a twist.
Oh.
What a twist.
Faust Gabe, that's the program you call upon when you're out of credits.
And that's what I think my initial thought obviously is, get the fractor for the barrier, but then I immediately realized I am super broke. And I'm probably going to stay relatively broke for the time being because of the drug dealer. So I decided to switch it up for the Faust instead because it's only 2 cards with Faust against Bastion. And just see what happens. So I discard a Fisk Investment Seminar because I'm not having too much problems drawing with the drug dealer. And now this is kind of like where you can see with the synergy here, because obviously playing Faust with drug dealers is just a great combo.
Just gives you fuel for the fire, and if you don't have any credits to lose, then it's just all gain.
Mm-hmm. So David, I think, put a new card in that remote, so he's probably building up probably some defensive upgrades, because if it was a campaign or some such, you think he would have rezzed by now.
Unless it was some sort of breakaway grid, maybe trying to set up some money situation.
And a note: I haven't ran that remote on the far left on his side, and which he also hasn't rezzed, interestingly. but I haven't ran it just because I've been too broke, so I didn't feel like it was worth spending a click. But it makes me really wonder. I've been wondering why he hasn't rezzed it. Like, what could it possibly be?
I often like to leave like an open Adonis campaign and just not res it. It'll cost them a click and 3 credits, but the moment I have to spend 4 to res it, all of a sudden it becomes a target. If I don't have any ice to protect it, I usually just leave it unres.
Right. Now, I ran HQ, got the 2 credits, and saw Heimdall 2.0. In retrospect, I definitely should have siphoned right there.
Yeah.
I do not understand. I remember looking at this game afterwards and just slapping the hand to the forehead and going, "Oh, what was I thinking?" Because that was perfect opportunity to do
Now we have an architect res on your running R&D.
Yep, and if I had siphoned him, he would have been...
You couldn't have afforded the architect for the new buildings.
Would have been just out of range. So that was definitely a misplay that's going to cost me, because I want to break through that architect, because he has a lot of juicy targets now in archives.
All right, so those 3 cards to get through.
And I'm trying to remember... Yeah, and I think at this point, I might be, I'm thinking, is it worth letting him fire off the second sub? Because I don't want to go too low into cards.
It's always a difficult choice.
Depending on what that second piece of ice is, because if it's an Eli or something, I would probably just bounce, but I do let him get the sub, which again, if I had siphoned him, wouldn't have been a problem. So now this is kind of cascading here, where he gets the Jackson with the architect.
Again, nothing.
Gets a credit because of ETF. Yeah, and just comes up blank again.
All right,
but I do get the emergency shutdown.
Yeah.
The architect, which is nice. Okay, so he hedged right there.
Mm-hmm.
Moneyed up. It's another credit. And then restructures. So the economic denial game is kind
back in the money now.
Yeah.
But he's ripe for the siphoning because there's only a Bastion just holding in front of him. So
HB is engineering the funds. So
hopefully we have the same old thing siphon coming right up. I would hope so.
Well, let's see, because again, at this point though, I mean, I can get the siphon off, but I can't deny him the money, so he could still res. If I went after remote, he could still res that toll booth. If I go into R&D, he could probably res both of those ice, even if I do siphon them. And I decided to check that remote, and it is in fact what you call it.
It is the Adonis.
Yeah,
that is a trick that I've run a few times in my days.
And I'm really I don't know why I'm not signing him at this point. I'm watching myself. I wish I could go back. And
the economic game is never out of reach.
Wish I could just go back and shake myself and wag the finger.
Oh, we have a drop in the new one and an advance, and another advance.
I think maybe I was getting too focused on R&D, and I know with this game, because the first game went so long, and I felt a little on tilt afterwards because of some misplays from that I don't think I was playing my sharpest at this point, because we're getting close to time, and I definitely because the other thing too is I should be siphoning them, because then I could siphon them and then trigger the doppelganger.
Or even just getting into HQ in general to get more money.
Yeah, I could run HQ again after siphoning them.
Absolutely.
And get an access in addition. So if I were me, going back in time, being me, if I were to wear a me suit and do this all over again, I would definitely play this a bit differently.
We've all been there.
So I make an HQ run, but it's not a siphon run. Oh God, this is.
Spend 2 cards.
And the other thing is credits. Too, I've been broke most of this game, so I'm sure David's just got to be just perplexed.
I'm curious too. He sees those same old things and is wondering if you're setting something up, maybe.
Yeah. I'm playing the long game, guys. Don't worry, got it under control. So ran HQ.
Imagine that's a Jackson Howard on the far server.
Well, we know it is because that's what he got from Architect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he could easily, if he overdraws or gets agenda flooded, he just dump it. And I think that was my doppelganger run. I should have probably ran.
Is that Eliza's toy box?
Yes, actually, yeah, which is an interesting splash. Although seeing Toll Booth and the Heimdall 2.0, it's probably got some big fatty ice in there. So kind of makes sense to slot that.
That's exactly what you want to bring out your emergency shutdowns for.
Mm-hmm.
There's no better target than a Heimdall. All right. So you have a draw.
So I parasite the Turin.
And he triple advances and scores.
GFI. He gets a global food.
Yeah.
So now it's 5-2. And I'm definitely sweating bullets because he's one agenda away from the win. And I almost wonder, actually, I'm almost wondering if I just forgot I had a siphon in the bin. Because I am definitely a bit incredulous with my own self at this point. It's pretty painful.
The Adonis campaign's been ticking down, giving him credits each time, too.
Mm-hmm. Like, I could easily just double siphon them with two sample things and just, not worry about money for the rest of the game. Which is what I do in the rest, I've done in other games. And, okay, so finally I siphoned here. So maybe I did. I almost do wonder if I forgot I played a siphon earlier because I draw into a siphon and then immediately play it. And, which is interesting because this is the other thing, though, is that David knows that I siphoned him, and he knows I have the same old thing, so it's interesting that he was not icing up HQ more. Digging for ice to, especially against Gabe.
Of course.
In general. He might be worried maybe about a sneak door, but again, that's not going to matter for siphon.
No. You always want to have the threat of something, even if it's just a face-down pop-up window sitting in front of HQ. The threat of a potential thing to stop your run is often stronger than the ice themselves.
Exactly, yeah. And so he reses Jackson, draws up, and I'm gonna take a wild guess
card
here.
in a new remote, in the remote.
Yep. So this could be the winning agenda. I'm going to assume he dumps some garbage agenda away. That he can easily shuffle back Jackson. Okay, so the Turing is at 3 strength now.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have a code. I do have a code
within Yogg range.
Yeah, I'm not running Yogg. I think I was running 2 Rexes actually.
Oh, okay.
And a passport.
Yes.
I think that was my decoders for the day. But again, I haven't seen. I did pitch a breach earlier for a Faust break, but I remember I did not see many of my breakers during this game. And so obviously I'm thinking that could very well be the last agenda, or the winning agenda rather, in that remote. And so I'm trying to figure out if there's any way I can get in there. And again, I do have the same old thing for an inside job, but at the same time I still need 3 credits if I want to get through Toll Booth. Mm-hmm. And there could easily be a defensive upgrade in there regardless. So if that's an Ash, then it doesn't matter.
We have a drive-by. Red doesn't trash that.
So, thinking that might have been a defensive upgrade.
And now same old thing, inside job.
Yeah, into that remote. Digging for it. There we go. Finally found it. So I'm going to get past the Turing. And he decides not to res the Toll Booth. And it was not an agenda.
It looked like an asset, maybe an EVE campaign.
Yeah, so kind of wasted that same old thing inside job. But when he's on 5 points and he's got the money, you got to check it.
You have another one at least now?
You got to check it. So I doppelganger into HQ, get an access, and so then time got called. Time gets called, and he's up 5-2, so he wins this round.
That is time.
So, that does it for
Stampede City Grid. I'm Keith.
I'm Justin.
And always be running.
Thanks for watching.
Yep.